Good morning, happy Monday. It is currently 9:54. I got up early and did hot Pilates, which is my favourite way to start Monday, at 7 a.m. and came back, had a very quick shower and jumped on a call with, I guess, a potential client. He's in Australia, so it was late for them but early for me, which is fine. Ended up chatting to her for a bit longer than we'd planned, but that is always the way with me because I love connecting with female founders, and when I'm inspired by them, it's just like an endless conversation. And it's funny that I say client, I guess, because I mean, she said on the call, she was like, I reached out because I wanted to work with you, but I have no idea what capacity you're working with people in. And I was like, well, I'm not really advertising anything. I don't have any forms of service. I'm just being very led by my gut and having conversations with people, and where I feel like I could be helpful and I could be a puzzle piece to your goals. But I'm being so fussy with the types of people I guess I'm working with. They have to be on a mission I'm passionate about, something where I feel like we can really make a difference and I can get behind in a sort of deeper way than just consultancy. Like, that is not of interest to me. So that will maybe take up 2 days a week of my time going forward. I think that will also allow me one day to sort of build and focus on what I'm building, my content, build a bit of structure, but also give me more breadth and depth to my work, because I think it can become very self-indulgent, just, I guess, working on myself the whole time. And I really love giving back and working for other entrepreneurs and other founders. Maybe it's just one. Maybe I'll just focus on one rather than 2 to 3. But I've sort of got 2 to 3 people I'm having conversations with right now. That's why I say that. But maybe one of them will come through, and that will be who I go with. I just think I miss that, having that bow, that string in my bow of sort of giving back and working towards someone else's mission and someone else's goal and being able to contribute to that. I don't want to go full time and do that again, but I definitely miss an element of it. And I get really fired up and energized by other people's missions, especially whilst I'm figuring mine out still. So yeah, I just thought I'd keep you updated on that. I also listened to a really, really good podcast this week, which was JVN on Hot Smart Rich, which is Maggie Seller's podcast. And it's a fantastic layered conversation, which one reminded me why I love podcasting so much, because it was so nuanced. And actually, there are two people who've gone up against each other on social media before. Maggie's released a video sort of damning JVN's hair care line, or explaining why it was like the downfall of it.
This is the biggest celebrity beauty brand failure I have ever seen. We have to talk about it. It is a crazy story, and either I'm missing something or Jonathan needs to get a new team.
Criticizing him essentially, but yet they were able to have a really helpful, thoughtful, mature conversation around that. And it just felt like something that could never exist in short form social media. It could only exist in a long form conversation. And then they had a really in-depth conversation around the company that JVN had built his celebrity hair care line with, his hair care line with as a celebrity brand, why it failed and why they had to be acquired, and actually how hard that time was. And it's just so much more interesting to me than success stories, like hearing the nuances of failures, why it happened, what they learned from it, what was in their control, what was out of their control, what they've changed as a result of it. He didn't have equity in the business, which, to Maggie's point, I just can't believe celebrities are setting up businesses without equity. But they are, of course they are, because they don't have the business education. They don't understand that side of things necessarily. It's not their forte. And it made me think, God, I could really go into the space where I spend time like helping celebrities build their businesses. But actually, I think we're going to see a decline in the celebrity business and more in the founder building the brand space. I need to get my LinkedIn post live, which I wrote a series on the train to and from Leeds yesterday, which you saw in last week. And I've written the first 3 posts because, as I said, if you write one and plan to do a series, you will lose momentum. You've got to be able to have like them batch created. So I'm going to get the first one live now, have some porridge, tidy the flat, and then I've got a haircut, thank God, at midday today. So we'll go along for that. And then Austin is coming back. He's been away for the weekend, so it'll be nice to see him and do some work this afternoon together, I think. So yeah, that's the Monday plan. I think I said last week, I feel extremely creative at the moment. And I will be sharing a lot of those thoughts as the week goes on. There's lots of thoughts I didn't get into last week, so there's more to come. There's a lot happening this week, and I'm very excited. Let's do it. I am on my way to Meta Festival, which is an event exclusively put on by Meta for creators to educate them on everything that's happening on their platforms. There's insights, there's education, there's talks. It's like a deep dive into all things Meta platforms. It's invite only, so I thought I would take you along on the vlog with me, and I will share the insights as I learn them. And I think we'll make this a vlog exclusive, so you gotta watch to learn the insights. So come with me to Meta Festival, and I'm going to share all my learnings with you. I've arrived at Meta Festival, which is an invite-only creator and advertiser event. They are sharing insights, latest technology, latest innovation, new products, demos, all of the good stuff, and like a good collaborative conversation between creators and advertisers and how the two can work together. So I'm going to exclusively take you along with me on this vlog. Because it's an invite-only event, I want to take you along with me. And I'm going to share all of my learnings, my takeaways, my insights. So let's go. So there's loads of like activations and things happening, but the first thing I'm going to go and do is sit in the main stage, and there is a lineup of talks from everyone from like Beverley to WPP, and I'm gonna film and then record my insights and takeaways afterwards. Okay, let's go into the main stage for a morning of talks, events, information, insights, etc.
And wait, what? You want practical takeaway? I want to introduce our first speaker. Round of applause!
Really keen to share with you.
We're going to give everyone a free copy. You can get navigation when you're out in the real world.
I think for me it's really about the cross-section between it genuinely being a collaboration.
And the content that creators create lives in more than just influencer paid marketing.
Okay, so the morning of talks are over. I wrote a ton of notes and took so many photos. There were some really interesting insights and takeaways, and actually, hate to say it, backs up everything I say about building brand and the power of building brand in order to create paid conversion. So I'm gonna go home and look at the footage I got and then insert like commentary around the footage to make the flow better, so you're not just watching like loads of random like videos of people talking. So I'm gonna look at the Samsung activation, the Meta AI new glasses that they've dropped, and see what else is going on. There's lots of activations. They've just launched some glasses with Oakley, which are kind of like their Meta glasses, but designed for like skiing, snowboarding, like motorsport, marathon running. They look absolutely insane. This is them here. Like I can see the runners and like the Southwest London run clubs going absolutely insane for these. I'm going to definitely try on a pair now. A lot of people want to try these on because I'm going to wait to see the glasses. Okay, do you know what's so funny is, so there were only some influencers that were invited to the morning part of this. The morning was much more sort of like advertiser focused, meta tools focused, which is super relevant to my world. And then the afternoon, there's 100 more creators who are invited. And it's much more about like collaboration with creators. And it's so funny because now everyone is walking around filming with like an Osmo, whereas before it was just me. And now I'm in like this warehouse with like hundreds of other creators, and it's honestly quite funny.
The first thing we can importing everything. Make sure to put it to the maximum. Oh yeah, it's
That's crazy.
Then you can chat to the person, you know, and then go back to how you were. You can skip this song like.
Don't need headphones anymore. So in here they are like demonstrating how good the Samsung phones are, and obviously they are incredibly good. They've got this really cool activation which is like use the Samsung to zoom in and like find little things on this piece of artwork, which is really smart. So there's like really detailed artwork, and it's like if you can find these like 4 symbols or 6 symbols, then you win. And you use the, I mean, you can kind of see over this guy's shoulder, you use the phone to like try and find the things to demonstrate how good the zoom is. Just think it's a really good, really smart little activation, that one. I'm loving all these little pop-up experiences, like Meta know how to do a good event. Okay, we are back from Meta Festival. I have just made myself, I would love to say it's homemade, but I bought a little grain nut salad pack from M&S, and I was craving prawns, so I just cooked some prawns, stuck them on top. And to be honest, the highest risk thing is that I am still in my nice clothes and I'm about to eat this food. But I thought while it's all fresh in my head, we could debrief on the learnings from the event. Let me just try prawn. Actually, I'm not going to make you sit through me eating this. See, I'm learning. I'm learning about vlogger life. I'm learning not to eat my lunch whilst talking to you. I'm going to eat my lunch and then we're going to come back. So hold the line for probably 3 minutes because I will golf this down. Golf? In golf? My brain's a bit fried. Have I got anything in my teeth? I think we're clear. Let's talk about the event. I think it's quite interesting to do this without watching my footage because I'm going to talk about the bits that are so memorable that I can't stop thinking about. So essentially the event was to bring together creators and advertisers. And the morning was more focused on speaking to advertisers about creators, the creator economy. And so it was quite interesting to be in the room during that part. So the first talk I remember, so they had like back-to-back talks. As per any platform event, some of it is educational, some of it is advertising. As in some of it is around advertising their own products, of course. So like the CMO came and did a video to start with because he wasn't there, which literally advertised his new book, which I'm quite intrigued to read. I've been seeing it being advertised everywhere. So they gave everyone a free copy, which is smart, like get it in front of the right people, the right people's hands. Although I also think they'd probably be the people who would buy it. But I think it's a personal branding play for Meta, which is a whole nother topic. I don't think this is a big Sunday Times bestseller opportunity. I wouldn't even be surprised if it's like self-published, but it's a personal branding move for Meta to say, look, our CMO wrote this book and we have this like authority within our company. That's a separate note. Okay, the first talk that I remember, they were back to back to back for like, I think they must have done 8 talks back to back, which was quite a lot, I will say, as event feedback goes. The first one I remember is Grace Beverley was interviewed on stage. It was only like a 20-minute interview. I wish they'd actually done like Q&A. It would have been more interesting. The bit I remember is her speaking about the most successful partnership she's worked on, because the question was, have you ever worked on a campaign that has had serious business impact? And you'd bloody hope so, because she's not only a creator in her own right and has been for 10, 15 years, she also has 2 companies that do mass influencer campaigns. So you'd like to think that from either perspective, she'd have a story about business impact that creators have had on her business. But she gave an example of how a campaign that she did, which was smart to advertise her in a room full of advertisers, a campaign she did with Revolut, and it started off as a short-term partnership and evolved into a long-term partnership after they saw the business impact that she was having. And what they did differently was that they didn't give her a brief. They brought her in to create the brief. So it wasn't transactional, it was long-term. It's everything I speak about needing for a successful brand partnership. I think that's what I found really reassuring about today, is everything that was mentioned, whether it was this talk or a later talk I'm going to talk about, is all the stuff I already talk about. So I'm like, perfect, we're all on the same page here, which is what I love to hear. But she said that with her Revolut campaign, she generated 24,000 new app downloads for Revolut, which is a really significant increase in downloads for a bank. But what she said was really important during that campaign is all the content she created was with her audience in mind, and she wanted to create content that was genuinely valuable for them, which is what any great brand partnership should be. She was like, I didn't want it to be an ad. I wanted to explain why I'm a Revolut customer and why I think they should be too. I will take it with a little bit of pinch of salt, because I imagine there was some level of incentive to download the app. I don't know what it was. I'd have to go and check out the campaign. I kind of remember it happening. Steve also was an ambassador for Revolut at the time, so I remember seeing the content. And I'm pretty sure there was some level of incentive to download the app, which means downloads, yes, really important, great KPI to measure, but also we need to be looking at retention of that customer. What I will say is a point she made, which was about really understanding the business goals with that influencer campaign.
I think that between the brand and the creator, what really becomes a successful collaboration is this alignment between not just the output in terms of the content, but in terms of KPIs, in terms of what the brand's really wanting to see from this, so that the creator can truly understand that and to be able to execute both in line with something that works for their platform and their audience, but also that's going to deliver what the brand wants.
Because sometimes you have an influencer campaign and the job is awareness, sometimes it's conversion, sometimes it's link clicks, sometimes it's sentiment, sometimes it's, all marketing channels have different goals. And she said businesses and brands should do a better job of explaining to their influencer or the influencer campaign what the goals and metrics they're measuring as success, because that will dictate the type of content that's created. Ultimately, it's about bringing your creators in-house, on board for the long run. It's removing this transactional nature and leaning into this embedding nature, which is what I've spoken about so many times with Anna Archer and Alex Zell with Poppy and all of those examples. That is the way to go. So that's what I remembered from her talk. I wish it was longer. I also, feel like I want more details. I want more granular. Then we went on to my second, actually, I think it was my favorite presentation because I love data. So it was a keynote delivered by two guys from WPP who do, well, they do all sorts of things, but the thing they were doing was delivering this new research document which they've created. And they've found, which is like, drum roll, because this is exactly what I've been saying to brands in my keynotes for the last year. And I didn't have the statistic, but I will be absolutely stealing and extracting and using this statistic in every talk going forward, because it so exactly encapsulates everything I try and explain, but with data and evidence. So they found that 84% of people have made their brand decision before they buy.
So what we have here is about 84% of somebody's decisions already made up by the brand before they actually start thinking about the purchase. Before they realize that they're going to switch banks, they already know what bank they're going to switch to, 84% of the time. This resonates to some of the things that you already heard today, the importance of understanding what the goal, what the objective is when you're trying to create content. Is if you're trying to influence that end of the journey, just the active stage, what you're fighting for is about 16% of a process, while 84% has already been decided.
Which means their example after Grace's talk was for those 24,000 Revolut customers who converted, 84% of them, before they even saw Grace's reel or whatever, had decided that when they next switch banks, they were going to switch to Revolut. So I made a note on this. So what that means is that 84% of the decision making comes from the values and the feeling the brand gives you over a really long period of time, i.e. multiple touch points before a decision is made, which actually means that when you're trying to do conversion marketing, so you're trying to get people to convert to your product and you're trying to convince them, you're only actually speaking to 16% of the people who ultimately convert, because 84% of people have already made their decision by the time they convert, or by the time they make the decision to come to your brand or whatever. Which basically means that brand building, long-term brand building, touch points across your brand awareness, organic social, all of these things do truly matter more than ever before. And for me, I've always said, like, if you just absolutely obsess over the organic, the word of mouth, the owned and the earned media, the conversion will come because they will buy into your brand story so much. They will buy into your messaging. They will buy into your values. And that statistic finally backs it up. They went on to talk about, owned, earned, shared and paid. And we're trying to emphasize the need for owned, earned and shared to be, and that's in terms of media or marketing or advertising. And they were emphasizing the need to place more emphasis, more focus on the owned, earned and shared as opposed to the paid. I actually took a picture of one of the slides. Let me see. I'll insert this one, which I've got here, which is about all the different touch points for different types of brands and different areas that matter more to the customer. So that was really interesting. I bloody love touch points. As you know, I talk about it, bang on about it all the time. Look at your touch points as a brand. Okay, this was the slide. So it's owned, earned and shared touch points are increasing in influence. So an increase of 25% for creators, increase of 13% for sports and event sponsorship, 15% for brand-owned website and social, 9% for social media brand mentions. Influence through those touch points is increasing. Whereas I'm not going to do it justice, but they spoke about active touch points and priming touch points.
They work in our implicit memory and they have a long residual power over time. In the active stage, it's different. This is more active processing. We're using our working memory. We're trying to pay attention to messages. But that also has a slightly different effect. It can have quicker forgetting. We can forget messages quicker. So two different psychological processes.
So the active stage is about making a purchase decision and the priming stage is about everyday life. And they were saying most people aren't spending enough time, most brands aren't spending enough time investing into the priming stage, the priming touch points, which is your owned, earned and shared. And that's exactly what I've been saying all this time. So that, just to have WPP back that up, with their research is like, I was like screaming. I was like, yes, this is exactly what I've been saying. Like, it's your everyday campaigns, it's your everyday content that matters more than the big sale launch conversion moments. It's why when I launched a newsletter, we didn't spend much time in this like launch or this active stage, because I spent so long priming through all of the content that I share every single day. It goes for every single brand, whether you're a consumer, B2B, it doesn't matter. You need to be focusing on your brand building. Like, that is the essence. And they're now saying that the influence of the priming stage is so significant in making an active decision that we need to be placing more emphasis in that priming stage. And they were saying one of the amazing ways we can do that is involving creators, and creator marketing playing such a significant role in that priming stage, and the amount of influence they invoke still is so significant, which was really interesting. But the main stat was this 84% of people, by the time they come to make a decision about the brand they want to use, they've already made a decision based on these priming touch points, which they've been experiencing for X number of years or months or whatever. It's less so about the active touch points. And actually only 16% of people are being caught in active touch points to make a decision. 84% are being caught in priming touch points, which is everything that you're always on. I hope that makes sense. But this research, I will link below if it's out, was University of Oxford, WPP Media, and Syed Business School? I'm not sure how you pronounce that. But that was my other notes. And then, to be honest, they were my favourite 2 talks for sure. The WPP one being a real highlight. As I said, I love a report. I will link it if it's out. They then had a creator and a marketing director on stage from 2 brands. And being totally honest, as soon as I hear anyone answer, what makes a great brand partnership? And they go, authenticity. I'm like, I'm out. Because it's such a nothingness answer. Like, it really is. It means nothing. So I thought I'd add that. I think it's always good to add feedback. I don't think authenticity is a good answer to that question. And I think it's very, very generic and is avoiding any actual form of answer. So that wasn't my favourite talk. My main takeaway, and this is something I actually may have said after my talk when I hosted the Creator Breakfast a few weeks ago. It's something that's been mulling in my mind. A few people mention it on stage. It's something I've been hearing, murmurings of different conversations. And when you start to hear something repeated at different events, at different locations, then you know it's something you've got to pay attention to. And that is the case with this. And that is that companies, and this is super generic and doesn't go for every company, but some large companies are not set up for creator success. They're not set up for success with creators because they haven't got a centralized creator department. What they've got is their paid department, their search department, their organic department. And what this other talk was saying at the end was how when it comes to meta partnership ads, the best conversion comes from using organic creator content. But what tends to happen is you get the organic team working with creators over here and the paid team running paid campaigns over here, and they don't speak to each other. And for me, this is completely insane. The way we see the creator economy going, I do think we need a centralized department who orchestrate all things creator, and creator should sit at the top, and then the channels for marketing should sit underneath. But it should be a centralized creator team, because otherwise what happens is you have the paid team trying to build relationships with creators, you have the affiliate team trying to build relationships with creators, and you're just wasting resources and exhausting resources on doubling up on all the communications, and you're not really building relationships with the brand, and it's not creating longevity, which we know is the secret to success. So my take is the future of creator marketing has to sit in a centralized resource department within a company, and the marketing channels have to sit almost around them or below them or above them. It doesn't matter in terms of organogram, but they have to feed into each other and they have to communicate, because I think it's such a wasted opportunity to have all these separate teams communicating and working with creators in their own isolated way. I don't think it's going to be the way in a few years, so I'd rather people set themselves up for success now. I'm starting to see this more and more as well, like this trend of being treated as like PR. So, or being treated as press, or being treated as a media outlet, where traditionally you might have invited like Ad Week or Marketing Week to come and cover an event like this, whereas now they want creative voices to distribute and speak about it and amplify it themselves on their own channels. So they invite creators with the idea that they will like create content around this like educational event, which is why educational content creators are booming. But yeah, I already said, I think in this episode or last week's episode, that I got sent a press release last week as a creator, which I think is just fascinating fascinating signal about where we're going and where we're moving. I literally can't breathe through my nose now. I need to get rid of those flowers, and I need to also sit and do some emails. I need to book a few things. I need to get back onto client inquiry calls that I had. And then I've got my community service briefing call with Jordan for this week's edition. There's one thing that I'm absolutely bursting to talk about. Essentially, it's that Alex Cooper announced that she's partnered with Google to create an ad partnership creative agency, and I can't tell you how important that is. But you're going to have to read this week's community service to understand why. Sorry, one moment. I am doing laptop work. Had to run down and get a matcha because fatigue. Black Sheep is an underrated matcha. I'm 99% sure they use Perfect Head, and that's probably why. So I just marched up the stairs to tell you this. The green, like, can you see how green this is? This is legit. Although I wish they had a slightly shorter straw because that's just a bit ridiculous. But 10 points for the matcha, minus 1 point for the straw. This is what matcha should taste like. Like, yes, it's earthy, but it's not bitter. And there's a real difference. So, cheers, Black Sheep. Right, we are late, obviously. I'm tired. I did get a good power 40 minutes of emails done. But let's go to Pilates because I'm not missing that and I need some energy. Although I'm really scared that this session is with the scary guy. I'm pretty sure I remember his name, and he's not one to let you get away with anything, which is good. I'm having one of those days where I could really do with getting away with a few little bits, you know? Okay. Got to figure out how I'm going to possibly tie up this new hair as well. Cute, just not for Pilates, you know? Oh, and if it is 3 p.m, wherever you're watching, or even 3:50, let this be your sign to get up and do some movement and move your body because you've probably been sat down all day. And movement is everything. It's going to be the thing that makes you feel better, that gives you energy. Do not, whatever you're doing right now, do not look at that. Look at me. Do not look at that pile of stuff on my bed, of deliveries. We're not seeing it. And did I just get 2 more? No, you did not hear that. You didn't hear it. Reminder to do your movement. Forget about that. To know me is to know that it's very normal for me to try and squish the most I possibly can into the least amount of time. So I have a call at 5:15. I've just walked through the door. It's 5:13. And in my mind, that's perfect timing. And that's how you know I'm a type B kind of person. It's community service time. We're finally going to talk about the Alex Cooper situation, which I've been bursting to talk to someone about. I think this is episode 4 or 5, which is mad. But yeah, sorry, no time. It's now it's exactly 8 p.m. I'm cooking us some dinner. I sat after our call and I'm just working through a lot of tasks and a lot of emails. And I've got a lot more to do, so I think we're just gonna make some dinner and we're gonna both sit and do some emails the rest of the evening because tomorrow I'm out and about pretty much all day. I will share something honestly with you. I had a podcast come out yesterday which was Business Class with Vicky Owens, and I just want to be super honest with you, like super honest. I've had gorgeous feedback, loads of tags, which has been super kind. How am I going to do this? And I really enjoyed the conversation. I think I ran away at the time. It felt really different. I was being asked different questions, but I did find the setup, and I said this to her, like a little bit uncomfy in that it was a really awkward conversation to sit, and I didn't love the angles, and it was very like jarred, and it didn't feel like a natural in terms of how I like purely in terms of how I looked. And when your face is on social media every day, and I know I turn up here and I look all sorts of ways after Pilates and I don't wear makeup and all of those sorts of things. I think the thing with that one is, of course, when I'm going on podcasts, I'm aware that it's being recorded, that it's being filmed, that it's going to be clipped, it's going to go on social media, like I'm very aware of that. So I actually had my makeup done, if you remember from the vlog, maybe we'll insert that clip, like I'd had my makeup done, I paid professionally to have my makeup done. And being honest, I just hate, and I know this is superficial, but I'm being honest, I hate how I look. I hate how I look in the episode. And I was so honest to Vicky, I just messaged her and I was like, I know I'm going to be that person right now, but I just really don't love that this is how I'm putting myself out there to a new audience. And I wish it didn't matter, but it does. It really does. And I would be lying to you if I was like, I don't care what I look like. I'm a 28-year-old girl who puts myself out on social media. Of course I care what I look like. Of course I care. And I do. I care about my appearance. I pride myself in my appearance. I put effort into my appearance. So I do want to look my best. And it's not that I don't like how I look. It's like I feel like it's making me look worse than I actually did. I feel like there's like a draining filter on me. The lighting's not great. It's just not very complimentary. And I just want to keep it really real with you. Like, I'm not above that. But I also want to keep it really real with Vicky and not post it, because that's what a lot of people would do. And gosh, we experienced this so much on all of our shows at Flight Story, and it was always mainly the women. You'd get people who just wouldn't post and you wouldn't understand why. And we actually started doing things like advising on what the lighting and the dress code and things to encourage people to look and feel their best, and then would often put smoothing filters over different celebrities who wanted to look and appear younger. That happened all the time. And put a very complimentary lighting palette, and we would do everything to make them look and feel their best, to encourage them to share, because that was the metric. It was like, if we can get them to share it, that's success. So what can we do to make them feel and look their best to share? Because we had so many times when people would come back and be like, oh no, they wouldn't say anything, but you knew it was because they didn't look their best, or they didn't look like the filtered version of themselves that usually they put on social media, so they didn't want to attach themselves to it, or they didn't want to promote it. So I know what it's like to be on the other end of that. So I didn't do that. I just said like, hey, look, I'm really sorry. I don't feel like this is the most flattering edit. Is there anything we can do on future clips? Because I'd love to collaborate, I'd love to promote. And so I've been promoting what I can, but I just want to share and be honest with you, like, that is the reality. Some days are not your days. And also, I just don't feel like I look like myself. I think that's what I'm really struggling with, because I obviously put myself out there, as I said, sweaty, gym, now, like, all of this. But I think it was how my makeup was done that on camera, it just doesn't look like me. And that's what I'm struggling with. I just feel really washed out. And when your reputation, whether you like it or not, resides partly on what you look like, I think hopefully mostly on my brains, but so to some degree, of course, I do care what I look like. And this has been a long ramble, but I just want to share, like, I'm not above that. And yes, I can most of the time get over it, because I do think my brain is what people follow me for, and my insights and my thoughts. But I'm just a girl at the end of the day, and I try not to give in too much to the pressure to look a certain way or to dress a certain way, but I do like that as well. But the episode's doing really well, and I'm really grateful for everyone's feedback and comments and thoughts and lovely resharing, and I'm really glad it's resonating with people who also are enjoying seeing a different conversation that's not just like about the experiments we ran at the Diary of a CEO. It's about like identity and sacrifice and leadership, and I love the conversation, which is why I'm a little bit, I guess, upset about what I look like or how the edit has turned out. But it's just the reality, and I will get over it. Just wanted to share that. Another layer, another detail of living a life in the social media era, putting yourself out in the limelight. You know, your face is out there and it's open to being judged all the time. And that is dinner ready. So that is rant over. But yeah, just wanted to keep it real. It's a weird dystopian world we live in. Okay, it is 10. Many an email has been sent. Many a WhatsApp has been replied to. Haven't touched LinkedIn DMs. Can't do it tonight. See you in the morning for a breakfast at a very bougie breakfast spot. For a founder's breakfast with some of my friends. Night. I've just got back from the house. It's 8:45. I actually walked back because I woke up feeling really unwell this morning. I'm really hoping it's just a really fleeting sore throat, because I'm away with my friends this weekend and I really want to be well. These are the things you don't account for, and when you are a solo founder or a solo entrepreneur or a freelancer or someone out by yourself, like, you are your business. Which is why when you are well and fighting fit and feeling good, you have got to maximize the time to allow yourself time off when this sort of thing happens. But I'm hoping it's just a fleeting thing. Pray for me. Also, side note, I think I've shared this before, because I'm an absolute sucker for anything that gives action in the name, i.e. it tells you what it does without having to look at the ingredients. It's very smart marketing. My vitamin water I love does it as well. It's like, oh, you need to rehydrate, this is the one you need to choose. You need to perform, this is the one you need to choose. There's probably also like a healing one or a sleep one, And by telling me what it does, I instantly buy into it and then assume you are the experts who know that these ingredients do that. I know I'm buying into marketing. It still works. Designed to naturally enhance physical and mental performance. So I will take that today, even if it's just great marketing. And just on that, the thinking there is that you're reducing the friction between you and the customer. So if a customer's looking at a tea section because they're tired or they're fatigued, they want a quick answer and a quick solution in a mass of options. So if you help their decision fatigue, you help them make the decision quicker by giving them a word that they relate to and that they're looking to strive towards with your product. It's a really smart way of doing things. I tell them the problem you're solving for with your product without just listing ingredients, because that's what people want. And I think there's lots of ways to do that in different industries, different markets. It's just all about reducing friction to solving the problem. I need to get ready because I've got to leave in 25 minutes. I think we're going to go makeup free because I'm not sure I can bring myself to do a full face. Just on my way back from a glorious breakfast. It was an entrepreneur's idea sharing breakfast that Heather kindly set up, which was so gorgeous, absolutely bougie breakfast spot, which was really lovely. And it was really lovely just to talk about things like hiring, fees for appearances and partnerships and speaking and getting it right and getting it wrong, sharing intel on brands that we've loved working with and brands that we haven't loved working with. Just a really helpful, great group of women who are all absolutely killing it at what they do. And in many ways, although I think the day-to-day of entrepreneurship can be lonely, absolutely, you don't have that team around you in the same way you do in a workplace, and it's definitely not something I would take for granted if you're thinking about leaving. I do think there's so many ways to feel less lonely by surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, and it just makes me feel so seen and heard and inspired, honestly, when I'm with them. There'll be people being like, how do you get invited to these things? How do you find out about them? I have built relationships over years with these individuals, going to events where I know no one, making friends, building a personal brand, DMing, cold DMing people, supporting them on and offline. It's not something that happens overnight. Yeah, I guess I work hard for those relationships because they're really important to me. But I do think the key is probably a personal brand, because it allows for the first stage of connection, like through a DM or through online or something like that, where I think it would be more challenging if you didn't, because it just adds like a bit of credibility, a bit of reassurance, a bit of like-mindedness, a bit of connection before you meet, and I think it's really helpful. I did go and pick up afterwards, I did go and pick up a little goodie that I had ordered from American Vintage, which is something I've had my eye on for ages, which is a fleece, and I adore it. I tried it on, I picked up the goods, and now we are heading back home for a quick change to then head off to Pilates, and then I have a quick change, shower before my laser appointment, because female things. You guys know I love this camera, but I will say I think it is a fault, and I will caveat this and say I probably can change it in the settings, that holding down the record button shuts down the camera. It also deletes the video you've just recorded, and I'm not sure why it does it sometimes and why it doesn't. Like, it's probably a fault that I can control, but I will say that being the default setting, not great, because I just recorded for 3 minutes walking through the station, updating you on all things the rest of the day, and it didn't record, so I've got to do it again. Well, I don't actually have time to do it again because I've just rushed back to change into Pilates clothes, because I'm going to go to Pilates now and try and sweat out whatever remnants of this thing I've got, even though it's day one and I probably haven't even had the slight worst of it yet. And then I've got to come back and shower and then go to laser, because I'm a girl who needs hair removal. Also, did a full morning, an event, well, like breakfast with no makeup on, and I'm really proud of myself. And I feel like my skin is looking good, and when it's looking good, you've got to celebrate these things. And then tonight I am going to the premiere of Louis Tomlinson on Diary of a CEO, which comes out tomorrow, but it's in cinemas tomorrow, and we've got an exclusive screening tonight. So I'm going to see the whole gang, all my friends, all my old teammates, and I'm so excited for that. What I was saying is that this morning on the train into breakfast, I reviewed an edited community service, which has now gone live. And it's my favourite edition so far because we deep dive on this huge industry signal, which is the Alex Cooper agency creation that happened this week, which I haven't been speaking about anywhere else. I saved it all for the newsletter. All my thoughts are saved, deep dive, debriefed into the newsletter. And then on the train back, I was creating with our content guy assets that I can share to promote the newsletter. And then I'm just about to write the LinkedIn post, which I'm going to promote the newsletter with now on the way to Pilates. I'm a multitasker and I like to squeeze stuff into every single minute of every single day. So yes, I'm running around and doing stuff, and it might not seem like laptop work today, but there's always work going on in the little snippets that I have. And I see the breakfast as a really valuable, important part of my work, which is networking, collaborating, idea sharing, problem solving, it's inspiration, it's creativity, it's everything. And that is part of work. And I've got a little bit of time to do a bit of work this afternoon. I've got to create some stories for a brand partnership. I've got to respond to 2 emails, and I've got to do a brief for another brand partnership. Let's go do some Pilates and try and sweat this thing out. We are lasered, we are Pilatesed, and we are back. I've got about an hour before I need to leave for the screening tonight, which I'm so excited for. It's such like a landmark moment to have a preview cinema screening of a podcast episode. Like, it's so significant. I don't want to run over that. I've just been sent this week's vlog to review, and I'm going to do that now. Have something to eat, drink a load of water, because I'm hoping I'm just flushing all this stuff out, and then I need to get ready. Let's go. Okay, the vlog is edited. The hair has been semi-reblow dried. I say semi, just the bangs at the front, which you can see are still a bit wet up there, but that's okay because we're going to be in a cinema, and I will probably tie it all back anyway. Did I say the vlog's all been edited, did all my tweaks, did all my feedback, gave some new material which can be included to like add definition. I'm trying to spend more time in the feedback stage. I also have no time to be doing this. I don't know why I always pick up. But there's my hairspray, and that was what I was looking for to spray these bangs. To hope they stay, give 2 chance of staying. Any chance of staying? I don't know, I've got to go. I'm going to be really late. I don't want to be awkwardly walking in really late because that will be the worst thing in the world. Okay, I'm nervous to see all my old colleagues. Let's go to the preview screening of Louis Tomlinson on the Diary of a CEO with all of my old team and go and celebrate them.
What is the earliest context that I need?
Something that played a massive role for me in my life was the fact that maybe for the first 4 or 5 years of my life, it was just me and my mum.
Wow, I am honestly so proud. Watching everyone coming up on the credits at the end was actually quite, I don't know, emotional to see how big the team now is. Like, they included everyone from Flight Story, which is testament to what I actually put in community service this week, which said about giving credit to the team where credit's due, and they are just the best at doing that. I think the episode was very moving in itself. It's a beautiful conversation. The fact that it's a monumental moment for the podcast to be in cinemas, like, it's completely remarkable. And then also being with all of my old team again was just very moving. I think a very moving evening all in all, and I feel incredibly proud. Going to head back now because I've actually realised I've got an event that starts at 7 a.m. tomorrow, which means I've got to be up at 5:30, and I've also got to pack tonight for our weekend trip because my boyfriend's taking the car tomorrow morning, so I need to pack and get everything in the car tonight, and it's currently 9:15, so I've got to pack, get home, pack, and be out for 5 a.m. for an event and look presentable. I think we're going to be scraping the hair back. That's one thing I do know.
We are holding here in stillness. Breathe. Tiny lifts up with the hips.
gorgeous morning. I can't believe we did a class at 7 a.m. Had a gorgeous matcha and yap with a croissant for the last like hour and a half, which was so lovely, with a few girlies to celebrate the launch of the matcha bar opening at the Salad Project, which is, to be honest, all of my favourite things. Like, if anyone's going to get me out and make me get up at 5:45, it's going to be Salad Project x matcha x Pilates, which I feel like basically sums up my personality. Feeling very fueled. The matcha is also delicious and, unsurprisingly, is perfect head. I've decided, because I don't actually have too much on for the rest of the day in terms of appointments or meetings, I am going to walk an hour through Hyde Park because it's such a beautiful day, like literally blue sky, sunshine. I need to get in the sunshine because I'm so cold. This is such a pretty part of London, so I'm going to walk a bit of the way home, listen to a podcast, call my mom, and then get home, probably be on my laptop for a few hours, maybe like 3-4 hours of admin. Then I need to do a hair wash and get ready. I definitely woke up feeling like full of cold this morning, but I feel so much better for doing that class. Moving my body, having some warm matcha goodness. It's a pretty good life. Like, I was getting up and I was full of cold and I was like, the idea of going into an office right now is too much, but I can bear the thought of the sunshine, of jumping in a cab and going and do Pilates that I've been kindly invited to. It's so funny that influencers like don't show up for this sort of thing. It was actually a really gorgeous group. It was really nice and intimate, and I actually find that so much more valuable than like a big overwhelming influencer event. But it is a bit of a shame that like they invited so many people and people chose not to come, because I'm like, guys, it's literally like free Pilates, a really expensive studio, free like meeting other people. Met the head of marketing at Deliciously, Ella, and she's in a really interesting like transitionary point of her role, so it was just like very great conversation to have, feeling very full and warm. And actually I think that's the direction influencer events have got to go in, where it's more very focused niche creators and smaller, more intimate. Just gonna stand here and get some vitamin D for a sec. Oh, so gorgeous, literally the best weather. I really hope this stays for the weekend, because we are heading down to Salcombe in Devon tonight with our friends, and we've got a weekend by the sea, and I'm so excited, and I really hope the sunshine stays. Gosh, it's so gorgeous around here. I love it so much. This is, yes, for those keen eyes, also the new fleece. She's a goodie. She's so cute. I love her so much. I'm going to wear her so much. You're going to see so much of this. So prepared to be sick. I also got the most gorgeous goodie bag of stuff, which I'll run you through when we get back. Lululemon water bottle, snacks, the gorgeous little green cap, Lululemon cap as well, stunning. Loving this. This is what I mean. Imagine being so sick of events that you're not fussed about receiving like freebies like that. Like, that's like a £50 goodie bag at least. So grateful and so thankful that this is how my Thursday morning starts. So I walked most of the way back and then jumped on the bus for the last bit, and it was such a beautiful weather for a walk. I really, again, if you have not got up from your desk today, I would encourage you to go for a quick walk. Then it was like the sun is shining, so I'm just brought my laptop out and I'm sat outside Gale's, just having a coffee, and I'm going to sit here for like 2 hours and just get through all of the responses that people are waiting on me for, which is a lot of things. So I've got nothing hanging over me for this weekend, so I can just feel released and free in nature with my friends, which I am so looking forward to. And I will pop you here to hold me accountable. Also, I will say, I do use AI and I do have virtual assistant support and things like that, but I do sometimes get quite overwhelmed with my inbox, and that's because every time I come to it, I start at the top rather than starting at the bottom. So I'm trying to start at the bottom and not pay attention to all of the new, exciting, shiny stuff that's come in. I'm trying to implement some of the stuff I learned from Grace Beverley's podcast about delayed gratification and not jumping for the shiny thing first. And that's how I'm applying it in like practicality to my inbox. Especially like I've got 198 emails. I need to relinquish more control to my virtual assistant because it's just getting silly. I swear, every day. It's like hundreds of emails. I feel very, very grateful, but it's a lot. So thank you for bearing with me if you are bearing with me. Okay, let's work and eat. gosh, the early start has really knocked me. I actually feel okay, but I feel a bit like, it feels like 6 p.m. and it's only like 2 p.m. That's okay. I've come back up now because I need to get ready to go and then meet my friends, to then get the train out to meet my boyfriend, who's then going to drive us down to Devon. We've got a bit of an excursion ahead of us. I just realised why the sofa is turned upside down, because my boyfriend was looking for his card holder this morning and he couldn't find it. Also, just to be like super transparent and like, I won't go into it. I've always said there are things that I keep behind closed doors on here, but I've just had some family phone calls and like stuff when I was sat at Gail's and I was crying, not going into it. And so we sat there for like half an hour, like on the phone and crying and talking and all of this stuff, which completely derailed me from my work. So the idea that I sat there and got through all of that work is just nonsense. Like, life interrupted and that's the reality of it. So I just want to keep it real. Like, if life interrupts for you too, me too. Like, I would never want to gloss over the idea that life doesn't happen to me in the same way, to the point where this woman, I was on the phone crying and this woman came over and she was like, do you want a hug? And because I was sat outside at Gale's and I was like, oh my God. To be fair, very, very sweet. Very sweet. And actually sometimes I see people crying and I think, God, they just, stuff happens and sometimes you do just need a hug because you are by yourself. But I was like, I'm on the phone, it's okay. But very sweet. You never know what's going on behind someone's mask, but that's okay. And I'm okay. There's absolutely nothing to worry about. I just wanted to keep it real. I wanted to show you what I got in my goodie bag from the Salad Project, which is a very, very generous goodie bag. I am an ambassador for the Salad Project. Have been for like a year, 2 years, because I used to, when I worked in the city, I used to have their lunches all the time because they're the best. And now I get to have them less because I'm in town less. But when I am in town, I always try and grab one. They're the best salad. Although they've taken my favourite one off the menu, so I now have to make it, which was the prawn stuff. But they've like collabed with Lululemon, which I didn't realise, which is really cool because I got this really cute Lululemon hat, which has like a really subtle embroidery on. Stunning. And then we got loads of snacks from this brand called Vilgen. These are cinnamon apple crisps. They sound absolutely delicious. This is what I freaking need. Zuki Immunity Vitamin C. Oh no, they're collagen liquid sachets. Mango peach flavour. Either way, I need them. They have all sorts of vitamins in. We used to get these at Diary of a CEO. All the time, we swore by them. Liquid collagen, mango peach, that sounds delicious. I actually need them. These are salted flaxseed chips. I already ate one of these on the way back earlier, but these oat bars were really yummy from the same brand. I've never heard of this brand, I'm going to check it out. Sorry, absolute prize winner. This like sage green Lululemon bottle. I'm obsessed with Lululemon bottles. I think we've got like 4 now, but we both use them all the time. They're the best. I love the sippy cup at the top. So that is so cool. Worth going for that alone, let alone the connection, the free very hard Pilates class, the people I got to meet, the free matcha. We also got a Salad Project gift card so I can eat my salad. What could be better? Okay, I feel drained, but I'm okay. So I've got a second draft of my vlog to review, but I'm going to shower, get ready, get on the train, go and like put myself in a coffee shop near where I'm meeting my friends later. So I'm just ready because they're all coming out of the office. So if I'm just there and ready to go, that's great. And then we've got a long excursion down. They've done a big M&S shop for the car picnic. I'm so excited. And I did take cold and flu medicine this morning and I think it's working. So all fingers crossed. What a day. So lucky to lead this life. I really do realise that. On days where I don't have huge amounts of meetings, I can control my day, I can work from wherever I want. I have events that I get to attend, that I get invited to. I just feel so lucky and so grateful. And I also think, I have days where I go up and down from this, but I also think like if I stopped pushing and just carried on at the level I am now, I would live a great life. Like, I don't think we think about that enough. Like, I think we're always pushing for the next thing, wanting more and more and more and more things. I don't really want for things. Like, I love experiences and I love freedom. So the fact that I get to live these really fun, exciting experiences, connect with individuals, impart wisdom where I can, and live a pretty good life. Like, I don't know, we're always told like, you want more. And like, I do love the idea of striving towards something great. But in terms of like things, I feel very satisfied in my life in many ways, which is an amazing privileged position to be in. So yeah, Just thought I'd share that. Sometimes we don't always have to strive financially for more, even though our capitalist society would tell us we do. I'm looking to like do things that like bring fulfillment and satisfaction and meaning into my life, and if they have financial uplift, like amazing. And if I can create like generational wealth, amazing. But I don't think that's the reason. And I kind of believe, I know it is for some people, that it's really hard to build anything great when that is the reason. Like, it was never our reason at Diary of a CEO, and it still isn't theirs. But it's by far one of the most, if not the most profitable show in the world. So I do think it's a byproduct of building something great, but I'm really glad it's not my focus. And I think I say that from a really privileged position. Like, I realise that it's very easy when you're in a position of financial security and stability to say that you're not seeking more and more money. It's also fine if you are. Like, if that's your motivation, like, good for you. I guess just like grateful, gratitude, huge amounts of gratitude. I do a lot of reflection. I think introspection and reflection, especially if you're working by yourself and a founder and a solopreneur, as they call me. I think introspection is really, really important to understand yourself, basically. And I do a lot of that, and it always results in me just being like overwhelmed with gratitude. So just thought I'd share a little bit of that. Thank you. I'm so grateful for these opportunities and being afforded these opportunities and working hard for these opportunities. Come be the man I need. Right, Grace. Let's go. I fear this cold is giving me slight short-term memory loss. I can't remember if I told you yesterday about my new obsession with bone broth. In New York, they have spring bone. And it's like it's based on bone broth, but you can get like bone broth rice salads or like things, but you can also buy drinkable bone broth. And bone broth is, amongst other things, just so good for your gut health, your overall immunity. It's full of collagen. It's just so great for you, especially if you are feeling slightly under the weather. It's the same premise of why people like have chicken soup when they're sick, but this is like all of the good nutrient ingredients. And I'm addicted to making myself a little bone broth. I think you can kind of get away with it because it looks like tea. I guess I would get away with it more if I put it in a non-see-through cup. But maybe this is also what's contributing to my skin. Maybe it's not just the moisturiser. It's so good. I can recommend them enough. I just have the Freya. I'm actually taking them with me. That's how addicted I am. Have I put them in here? Yeah. Freya bone broth. And they just come in these little sachets. They have 11 grams of protein, 52 calories, 6 grams of collagen. Bone broth is your daily foundation of nutrition. It's packed with protein, collagen, and essential amino acids. So as you can like sprinkle it on potatoes and veg before roasting, or make a delicious hot drink, which is what I've been doing. It's a great thing. I wish we had spring bone. Maybe Freya, you should take the idea and do pop-ups in London and during the winter and get people drinking your bone broth. Doing real life activations. There you go. On a plate. Take it. I will be your first customer. I will be your ambassador. Right. It is nearly 4:00. I just packed up a little parcel for my brother. He's running a marathon this weekend, and I have so many gels left over from when I did a half marathon earlier in the year, because I thought I ordered 4 and I actually think I ordered 40. And I'm not doing long distance running, so I don't need the gels. So I packed him a little goodie bag for him to come and pick up. A load of salt electrolytes in as well, of course, gels, and yeah. So I'm going to go put that downstairs for him, and then we've got to get a train, a tube, wait until I get the signal from my office friends, and then get the next train, and then do a 3-hour drive. Devon is so worth it, guys. Let me know in the comments, like, do you like this stuff? Do you like this, like, behind the scenes of my life, more lifestyle-y? Or making sure obviously there's still integrated value, or do you just like the value packed stuff? Like, do you just want education, or do you want me on in the background while you're making your dinner? Let me know, because I will tailor and adapt these things for you, no problem. Actually, something I can talk about, but I'll do it when I've got to go, but I'll talk to you about it, is something that I've just been looking at. And I'm always in the data, I'm always in the analytics for YouTube. As you know, I'm completely obsessed with YouTube. I love it so much. I have an editor supporting me now. I'm trying to do as many learnings as I can. I've signed up with YouTube creators. I'm going to an event with them. I've got some one-on-one time with their team to support me with the growth of my channel. Like, I'm just trying to invest as much time into it as possible because I love it. I love it as a platform. I love the relationship and community and you guys. I just love it. And by it's really interesting. I'm going to do a post for LinkedIn. It just came to me. I feel very inspired to write on LinkedIn at the moment. I go through real phases and waves, but I think I've done 2 posts this week. Obviously, one's my series, which I spoke about earlier in the week, which will be going live every Monday, which has performed really well. And then another one was talking about the Alex Cooper launch of her creative agency, which we included in Substack, which was a push for our Substack, really. And has generated great conversion. So yeah, fallen back in love with LinkedIn this week. But this LinkedIn post will be about how, if you looked from the outside and immediately looked at the metrics most people look at, you would say that my last YouTube video had failed, or it was the worst one so far. And by many degrees, they're right, because it's being ranked 10 out of 10, which means it's the lowest performing in terms of views. However, that's assuming that my metric of success is views. Views is one metric. I'm actually more obsessed with the fact that I've had more subscribers subscribe this week. My average view duration is higher than it's been in the last 3 weeks, which means the people who are watching for longer, which is of such significant value for me. And then what was the third one? And the comments. The comments have been so intense and long and value driven, and there are like 40 comments on the video. That's not a failure for me. And don't get me wrong, I'm so all here for failure because there's so much to learn, right? So I am always looking for the learning. So I guess 2-part. One, I don't deem that as a failure because the measurements and the metrics I'm measuring for success have been amazing. There's depth, there's intention, there's retention, which is my goal. There's also growth, which is fantastic. And then the second part is the things that have failed, I'm learning from. So I'm learning that maybe the title and the thumbnail, the packaging, or the way I've advertised it, which I have not promoted this episode on any of my channels, hasn't done a good enough job. So I need to think about new ways to market, and it gives me learnings and it gives me opportunity to change things, which I love. It's challenging. It's like, oh, okay, you can't just like put something out and it's all gonna be like amazing for you. There's learnings and there's like huge successes in it. It's just, that's why it's so important to be clear on your goal, because once you're clear on your goal, you know what you're measuring and what success means for you, and you don't get distracted by all of the vanity metrics. Vanity metrics basically being views and likes generally. For me, I measure it with, I've had probably more messages in the last fortnight about my vlog on Instagram and LinkedIn where people have connected with me and told me how much they're loving it, how much they're watching it, how much it's part of their routine. And for me, that is the ultimate measurement of success. I've even had people come up to me and tell me they're loving it. Like, for me, that is like success through and through. And that's because I know what I'm measuring and what I'm looking for. And that's when I work with clients, I say, they're like, has this performed well? We need to do as well as this and this and this. And I said, but what does well look like for you? And what are you measuring to determine that? Because that is everything. Once you get clear on like what measurements matter for you, which are based on your goal, which you have to be super clear on. This goes for every platform, not just YouTube. Then it's really easy to not get distracted by things like vanity metrics, which basically are only there for the ego. But yeah, okay, I really need to go. I need to drink this bone broth. I need to drop this thing downstairs to my brother, and we need to start on our big journey down to Devon, which I'm so excited for. And I will try and film some clips here and there to like take you with us, because it's just so beautiful. And I think it's a really, really hopefully important reminder to everyone to continuously take breaks and not feel guilty for it. Get into nature, touch the grass. Like, this is what we're put on earth to do. So work freaking hard, be obsessed with what you're doing, feel fulfilled in every part of your life, and that includes relationships, family, friends, all the things that bring you joy. My friends certainly do that for me. So yeah, my friends are all very excited to feature on the vlog, so we'll introduce you to them shortly. My ride or dies. Let's go!
Rob's big weekend noise.
We're on film.